Welcome back to our lessons, my dears. We're already on lesson 109. I rest in God. So we need to take a look even at the title. This is not a chore to be done like, okay, I'm going to go off and rest in God. It's a choice. It's a desire. It's what we want. And in fact, it's what's already so. So then it begins, we ask, which really is we claim for ourselves. The quietness unshaken by appearances. We ask, and then it has a list, for peace and stillness in the midst of all the turmoil. We certainly have a lot of that. For safety and for happiness, although we appear to look on danger and sorrow. And we've got the thought that's going to carry us through so that this request actually makes sense to us, so that we can experience this request. I rest in God. This thought will bring us to the rest and the quiet and the peace and the stillness and the safety and happiness that we want. It carries us forward. It carries us inward. It has the power to wake the sleeping truth in us, not the truth that is absent, but the truth that we're currently unaware of in everyone and everything. Here's the end of suffering for everything and everyone and the world. Everyone who ever came and yet will come. Here is the thought in which we are born again, to recognize ourselves. And it's interesting that this lesson comes, if you start at the beginning of the year, in the springtime, which is the time of rebirth, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, which is where this book was written. So I rest in God, undismayed. This thought is going to carry us through storms and strife, past misery and pain, loss and death. Well, that's a good bunch of stuff to get beyond. And onward to the certainty of love, to the certainty that the experience of love brings to us. Once we've really experienced this, that's the end of doubt. There's no suffering this can't heal, no problem that can't be solved, and no appearance of awfulness that can't be turned into something entirely different. So this is the day of peace. We rest in God. Now let's remember what rest means. It's to cease work or activity or motion. Another way to think of it is it's the relief or the freedom from disquiet or disturbance. It's a kind of emotional tranquility. Okay, so while the world is torn by winds of hate, we're fine. Our rest remains undisturbed because ours is the rest of truth. Remember, truth has substance. These appearances don't. That's why they can't intrude on us. We call to everyone to join us because remember, when there's a thought in my mind and I want it for everybody, then everybody gets it at some level. They're not going to hear another voice. They're not going to hear an ego voice. They're going to hear this voice for love. And now we continue to rest deeply in being who we are, which is a loving presence, and let that love speak through us. And when we do, we have no cares, no concerns, no burdens, no anxiety, pain, fear of future or past regrets. That's a lot to be unloaded of. In timelessness, we rest. That means we're now in the present moment. This moment we're in right now isn't really about time. Time is when we remember the past and anticipate the future. But right now, we can rest while time goes on without its touch upon us. For the rest can never change us in any way at all. So, close your eyes and sink into stillness. Let these times of rest and respite reassure us all that all of our frantic fantasies about who did what to whom and all the things that we're afraid are going to happen to us, the dreams of fever, as it says, they can all disappear. Okay? Let the mind be still and thankfully accept its healing. No more fearful dreams now that we choose love. Now, each hour that we're going to do our practice. And now it gets to be poetic again. You know how part of this is really very beautifully written. A tired mind is suddenly made glad, like out of nowhere. A bird with broken wings begins to sing. A stream, long dry, begins to flow again. And the world, that's our world, remember we each live in our own subjective world, is born again each time we rest. And every hour when we remember that we came to bring the peace of love, peace of God into the world, we're all here with that same mission. And every 5 minutes that we rest, the world is nearer waking up, where rest will be the only thing that happens, coming closer to all worn and tired minds too weary now to go their way alone. Thank goodness they don't have to go their way alone. And they will hear the bird begin to sing, the stream begin to flow, and with hope reborn and energy restored, to walk with lightened steps along the road that suddenly seems easy. Like, where did that come from? It's the idea that when I change my mind, suddenly everything in life gets to be different. So we rest within the peace of God today, and we call upon everyone to join us. We're going to be faithful to our trust. That's what we came for. We're going to forget no one, bringing everyone into our peace. Because remember, if I decide to leave someone out, I'm the loser. Remember, what we offer to someone else, we experience. Therefore, it invites us. Open the temple doors. Let everybody come from far and wide. Distant brothers and closest friends. Invite them all to their rest. We rest within the peace of God today, quiet, unafraid. Everyone comes to take his rest and offers it to us. There's the giving and receiving thing again. So we rest together, which is what makes rest complete and whole. You see, once again, you can see the teaching of non-duality today. And then it makes the lovely statement, time is not the guardian of what we give. In other words, we don't just give to whoever happens to be around right now. We give to those unborn, those passed by, to every aspect of creation, and even back to the mind from whence we came. And we're going to remind everything and everyone as one of their resting place each time we say, I rest in God. This is my choice. I rest in love. I claim this as my heritage. Have a beautiful day. This is a beautiful lesson, a wonderful time to be reborn. See you tomorrow.